Hey, this is Skin Talk. We have in our studios today Dr. John Young. We also have a medical student, Bryce Desmond, here with us today. How you doing, Bryce?
Pretty good, pretty good.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Utah. I grew up in Utah, going to medical school at Toro University in Las Vegas. Down here for a couple weeks, or up here, I guess, for a couple weeks. Silver Falls Dermatology, and I'm going to be doing my internship at Good Sam. So we'll be moving to Corvallis soon. Excited about it.
What brings you to dermatology?
I like the field. I like that there's, a lot of immediate results in dermatology. You can go in, someone's got a skin cancer, you cut it out, and it's gone, and they're cured if you're doing a Mohs procedure. So.
Now, one of the things that we also have Dr. Corey Mon here, and we're shooting video today, so you'll be able to see that on our website. And we have none other than
Cajun Joe.
Cajun Joe. Hey, Cajun Joe, put your hat on, if you would, please. Okay, so you got to check this out. Okay.
This is called the South Louisiana Evening Wear Hat.
South Louisiana Evening Wear Hat.
Yeah.
It looks really good.
When you get really dressed up, you put this and your white boots on. And
I didn't think you were blonde.
No.
So you got to check the website, KGAL.com. When we post the video, you got to see Cajun Joe's hat there.
People will spontaneously give you money when you show up at an ATM like that as well.
Okay, what are we going to talk about today? Obviously, we're going to talk about Bryce. What's the topic for conversation today?
Well, we're talking about MelaFind today. It's a new tool at Silver Falls that we're going to be using here come mid-March. It's a tool for detecting melanoma. It's brand new. First, I guess, for the general public, a little bit of a few facts about melanoma. It's the number one killer in women, actually, the number one cancer killer in women from ages 25 to 29. And it's the second most common cause of cancer death in women from 30 to 34. So it's pretty serious disease, pretty serious cancer. It's very common in all ages, really, especially in the 20 to 29 year range. So
now, obviously, melanoma is a skin cancer.
Right, a skin cancer. It's the one that everybody worries about when they think about skin cancer. It's the one to watch for.
Everybody else in the studio has heard this except you, so I'll share it with you and part of the audience that's been hearing Skin Talk before. I was in a dermatologist's office getting a routine exam, whatever, and the next cubicle over, there was an older lady and her husband, and the dermatologist said, I believe your husband might have melanoma, and it's skin cancer, and she kind of poo-pooed it and said, well, he's led a good life, and I'm not too concerned about it because he's older now, and how bad can melanoma be, or how bad can the skin cancer be? She thought, well, it's just an abrasion, you'll take off your skin. And I thought that dermatologist was going to jump down her throat. He said, you don't understand just how serious melanoma can be as it progresses and gets into your system. Is that correct?
Right, yeah, no, that's correct. There's basal cell skin cancer, squamous cell skin cancer, which for the most part, when we see in the office, we can cut it out, and that's the resolution to that cancer, and really there's a lot of time there's not any follow-up needed after that. But for melanoma, once it metastasizes, which means it spreads to the other parts of the body, there's really no cure for melanoma at that point. So melanoma is the aggressive cancer that we're obviously worried about the most.
What causes that? Is it too much sun? Too many sunburns? Is it hereditary?
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination of sun and genetics, and I think a little bit of bad luck, too.
Okay.
Yeah.
How does MelaFind work?
Well, MelaFind, it's basically a computer on wheels, and it's got a screen, and it's got a little a camera that looks like a radar gun, kind of like that the cops use, but it's just a camera, and we put it up to the mole in question, and you push the button, and the MelaFind analyzes the mole, and it gives us some feedback on what it thinks about the mole, whether it's dangerous and needs to be removed, or whether it can stay. MelaFind uses 10 different wavelengths of light, so it can see more than we can see with our naked eye. It's just another tool that can help dermatologists, think if they need to remove it or not.
So it visually analyzes the mole, but more than on the spectrum of light that we see.
Right. Yeah, 10 different wavelengths of light, and it can actually see 2.5 millimeters below the skin surface, which obviously we can't. So, it gives us a pretty good idea, I think, of the architecture of the mole and exactly how dangerous it is.
Now, if you go to your website, SilverFallsDerm.net is the website. It says MelaFind is coming. Is MelaFind here? It is. Dr. John Young, or?
MelaFind is on its way. The machines are being shipped now. And the nice thing is that for the first 2 weeks we have the machines, we're going to be able to offer it at no charge. The company is letting us do that. So that's kind of nice. And those slots are filling quickly. So if people are interested in having this extra tool used to check their moles, we'd advise them to call and try to get one of those slots. But, where this thing really cuts its teeth is when people come in and have a benign mole, we know that that's okay. We can reassure them. When they have a really abnormal mole, we know that one needs to come off. But where MelaFind really helps us is in those between zones, in the intermediate range, where we look at the mole and it looks a little weird, but maybe we don't want to cut it out, and we kind of hem and haw a little bit. It's another tool that we can use that was recently approved by the FDA. So for something to get an approval through the Drug Administration, it has to have a lot of good data behind it. And so where it really helps us is in these moles that we're just kind of unsure of. A lot of times, traditionally, we would just either cut them off or wait and watch and see if they change. But the nice thing is this can detect an early change that we might not be able to notice, and the patient might not be able to notice. And what a lot of the experts have found is that they're catching a lot more melanomas early with this, which can be potentially life-saving. And we routinely see this in the clinic where a patient might have 5 moles, and we might take 3 of them off and they come back okay. And then later on we'll end up taking the other 2 off because maybe they look a little different to us. And the last one we take off that didn't look the worst to us ends up being the melanoma. And we had a case of this just this week come through, and it's scary when that happens, and that's where this piece of equipment is going to really come into play. And the nice thing is it's painless. It's just basically like taking a picture of it with a radar gun and taking an analysis of it. The other thing that's interesting is that it's not widely available or utilized. We're going to be just the second office in Oregon outside of Hood River with this thing, and we'll have it at all offices, and every one of our providers will be trained in how to use it. The other interesting nuance of this is that it's only FDA approved to be used by a dermatologist in a dermatology office because they don't want us analyzing things that aren't moles because it can confuse the machine. They want us to pick the indeterminate ones or the ones we're concerned about and then analyze them.
How many offices do you have? The one in Salem?
Yeah, we have 4 different offices. We have one in Woodburn, right next to the Walmart. We have our main office in Salem, and then we also have the Albany office here in the old library, and then in Corvallis on Kings Boulevard. So all 4 locations will have the MelaFind, and we're excited to go through our training for the machine coming up in the next few weeks, and then from the 11th to the 22nd of March are the dates when we're going to have openings for people to come in and we can evaluate, their lesions with this new device.
So one of the big advantages of the MelaFind is early detection. Just how important is that? It's more than just cosmetic. It can be life and death, correct?
Absolutely. And we emphasize this a lot with our patients that, the damage that caused skin cancer, whether it's melanoma or whether it's non-melanoma skin cancer, 80% or more happens before you're 18. And so the majority of the damage is done. It's like a book you wrote when you were young, and now you read the chapters. And so the most important thing, as you said, is early detection. And this is another tool we now have to detect lesions earlier. It also gives us a little bit more accuracy as to which ones are atypical and should come off. Whereas in the past, it's a kind of a mixture of clinical descriptions and sometimes even your gut feeling as you've had a lot of experience in examining lesions and moles and seeing biopsy reports. You kind of develop this gut feeling of what looks normal and what doesn't. And Dr. Young is one of the best examples. Sometimes he'll come in and we'll have looked at things and he'll always kind of point out one that his gut is telling him it looks a little different. And but this machine kind of helps us to be more specific and more sensitive in finding these melanomas.
So, Dave, this is one of the things we do at Silver Falls. We bring in the state-of-the-art equipment. We want to stay ahead of the curve. It's a great asset to us. There's many other things that we have for our medical residents, dermatology residents. They get a real good training here. We cover the whole spectrum of everything possible and the best ways to treat it. And if anyone's interested in some of this information, they can look online at silverfallsderm.net, or they can give us a call at locally here. It would be 541-967-8385. And if you need a toll-free number, that would be 866-599-8385. Wow, too many numbers.
Let's talk to Bryce Desmond. Now, you're a medical student. It's interning at Silver Falls. Is that a correct term?
I'm rotating here.
You're rotating
for clerkship, yeah.
So how do you feel about coming to a facility that's, they have UlTherapy, which you've probably seen in action over there, and now MelaFind. They've got a lot of the state-of-the-art equipment here. What does that mean to you as a medical student trying to get out in the field and see what's...
Yeah, no, that's awesome. The first day I got there, Dr. Young had some brand new scopes. At Silver Falls, just like Joe said, they stay ahead of the curve. They have, the latest equipment, a lot of equipment I haven't seen, and I've been, around the country on different dermatology rotations. So, and I see Dr. Mon here, Dr. Marcus as the residents. They're very well trained. They have all the equipment they need and everything they need. So it's impressive.
Dr. Young, you've mentioned you have some slots open for people to come in to use the MelaFind equipment free, or to allow you to use it on them. What kinds of patients, or who should be coming in? Is it people with lots of moles on them, or who are we looking for out there?
That's a great question. So who needs the device? Well, anyone with a lot of moles would be at higher risk for melanoma, or with a history of sunburning would be at risk for melanoma. And then it's where it really also helps your question, getting back to your question about cosmetic. Like how, and how does this impact a cosmetic look? Let's say someone was afraid to come in because they have a big mole on their cheek. Let's say it's a young woman, a model, or a young woman who doesn't want a big scar on her chest or on her back, and so puts off a visit. This is the perfect thing that we can use so that we can possibly avoid a biopsy, unless the mole looks crazy atypical to us with our naked eyes. But this can give us an extra bit of analysis and confidence in saying, you know what, I don't think we need to put a big scar on your face or on your back or on your chest. We can probably just wait and watch it, because not only do we think it looks okay, but we have this backup with this MelaFind device that takes a picture of it and analyzes it and gives us extra data. So really for anyone at risk for melanoma, so people who are in their 20s who may not think they're at risk for melanoma, like Bryce said, especially women. Melanoma is a big killer of young women, which we don't often think of. And anyone with fair skin, blue eyes, light-colored hair, history of sunburns, active outside, the runners, the bikers, anyone that gets a bit of sun, whether or not they burn or not, would be at extra risk. And, you may come in and find that you don't even need the MelaFind. So we would want to evaluate people to make sure they need it. If they need it, we would want to use it. But if not, maybe they don't even need it.
One of the things I would think that the MelaFind, in determining early on whether the mole needs to come off, early on detection, I would think, would make the incision smaller, correct, than when it grows?
Yeah, so if you can detect a melanoma earlier, number one, that's better for scarring. So you can take it off with a smaller scar. And then the second thing is, once it gets to a certain level of depth, like once a melanoma gets a little bit worse, even though it can look the same to our eyes, they can look similar and be okay or not so bad or really serious. Once it's in the real serious category or deeper category, then you're talking about a huge scar. In addition, you're talking about lymph nodes being cut out and possibly chemotherapy types of regimens, which is another exciting thing that we have coming in the field of melanoma. For instance, we just met with a melanoma expert from OHSU who deals with the real serious cases of melanoma. And even though we may not treat those as dermatologists, we would refer those on to him. But it's nice to follow, from our end to his end, what happens with these more severe cases of melanoma. And melanoma is extremely deadly. there have not been a lot of advances in the field until recently with treating the more serious disease, but now there are different things available. And so, you know, if we do catch one that tends to be worse, not only would we know who to send them to, but we would know more about the different studies and trials and new drugs that are coming out to treat systemic or metastatic melanoma that's deep in the body.
You know, Dave, we have the only most fellowship surgeon for the most procedure in Salem, Corvallis, or Albany City. So it's a big deal. And Dr. Lear, who is excellent in his field, that's all he does is take care of the most constantly. And it's a big problem. We have lots of it in Oregon. And I think, if I remember from the past, I think per capita, Oregon leads the nation in melanoma. Is that correct, Dr. Young?
It's always up there. You know, it's been a leader in the past, and it's always, you know, putting its head up in one of the top at-risk populations for melanoma and skin cancer.
Okay, we're going to take a break here on Skin Talk, and we'll be back with Dr. John Young, Bryce Desmond, medical student, Corey Mon, and the
Cajun Joe.
The one and only Cajun Joe. And we'll be right back here on Skin Talk in just a moment.
Going out to lunch at a nice restaurant can be expensive, and the big portions put you more in the mood for a nap than a productive afternoon. Mama's Fine Italian to the rescue. The small appetite senior menu is just right. Anyone and everyone is invited to order from the Light Appetites menu for lunch from 11 to 4 p.m. with tasty entrees beginning at only $3.95. Why go hungry or go anywhere else for lunch? Eat healthy, eat light at Mama's. Closed Sunday and Monday, so make the most of Tuesday through Friday and join your friends at Mama's for lunch. Dinner only on Saturday. Mama's features charbroiled steaks every day. Make reservations for dinner or pick up a bottle of fine wine. Seating is limited, so please call for reservations. 541-451-5050. That's 451-5050. Mama's Fine Italian and Wine Shop on West Oak between Main and 2nd in Lebanon, across from the Big Blue Napa Auto Parts building.
Banking these days can be pretty impersonal. You've got your big banks, your internet banks, your do-it-yourself banks, and your too big to fail banks. That's wwilliamette you might be interested in an alternative. Willamette Community Bank. Hello, this is Bill Higbee, residential lender. You deserve better service without sacrificing a thing. So if you're feeling underserved, make the switch to the best banking option out there with branches in Albany and Lebanon.
Willamette Community Bank. Service like no other. We promise. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Is the grinding starter or sputtering motor getting to you? Then see the ASE certified technicians at Kingsbury Automotive. You'll get peace of mind and competitive pricing with every expert repair. Kingsbury Automotive is inside Lebanon Towing next to 7-Eleven on South Main Street, Lebanon.
Everything for your car and truck. Expert repairs you can trust. Expert repairs you can trust.
258-2240 for Kingsbury Automotive.
If you have lived in the Mid-Willamette Valley for just a short time or possibly most of your life, you probably know a lot about Mennonite Village of Albany. In fact, their reputation is well known throughout the Pacific Northwest. They are a faith-based community in the Mennonite tradition of faith, family, and friendship. As a continuing care retirement community, they provide housing and support services designed to meet the changing needs of persons of all faiths and beliefs. The Mennonite Village offers a variety of retirement living arrangements, including active living homes, congregate living apartments, assisted living apartments, Alzheimer's and dementia care, and nursing and rehabilitation. As a nonprofit organization, their rates for these services are quite reasonable. Right now is a perfect time to contact Gene Stutzman for a tour of the Mennonite Village to check them out at 5353 Columbus Street Southeast in Albany. Online at MennoniteVillage.org or call 541-928-7232. That's 541-928-7232.
Need a home? Then listen to Real Estate Talk with Dave Pouch, Saturday mornings on Smart Talk 1580.
Here we are with Skin Talk, and in the studios today we have Dr. John Young, medical student Bryce Desmond, Dr. Corey Mon, and the one and only Cajun Joe with us in the studios. Glad to have you with us. Don't forget, the second Thursday of every month is Skin Talk, and a chance for you to learn about all things dermatological. Dr. John Young, you were mentioning you're seeing a wave of, or maybe Corey wants to talk about this, a wave of skin cancers recently, or areas you're concerned about.
Yeah, I'll let Dr. Mon talk about what we're seeing lately.
Yeah, I think it's pretty steady here in Oregon. I don't know necessarily if we get any bigger waves. We do notice that during the summer months we do see more, and that's because we do have a fair amount of snowbirds that are down in Arizona and California right now, and as we mature in life, we tend to develop more of these skin cancers, and so we do see kind of a peak when they start to return. But skin cancer itself is pretty constant here in Oregon, and we see it every single day. I mean, we've already seen it a few times today here in our Albany office, and so it's something that we're very familiar and comfortable with.
A comment was made earlier in the show that I'm curious about. Oregon is one of the leaders in skin cancer. Did I hear that right?
Yeah. So
why is that, do we think?
Well, there's some different thoughts as to why, and I think one of the ones that makes a lot of sense to us is that here in Oregon, the sun does not shine quite as often as in Arizona. And so there are certain skin cancers that are related to a lifelong cumulative exposure of sunlight, some that are related to intermittent burning. And so some of the skin cancers we see here are likely related to the Oregonians enjoying the sun when it does shine, and probably not remembering that sunscreen is important because it's not something they think about on a day-to-day basis. And so when they're young and they head out to the coast in the summers or in the middle of the winter down to, California or on vacations, often they get burned pretty bad. And so later in life, when these skin cancers kind of come to the surface, that's kind of the thought as to why it's pretty prevalent here.
Now, some people, speaking of sunburn, you can get a bad sunburn in the middle of winter, can't you?
Absolutely, yeah.
If you're out skiing on the slopes and you don't have sunscreen on, it's glancing off the snow. Just because it's not 80 degrees and you're on the ocean, you could be on the slopes of Mount Bachelor, not picking on them. Right. But you can get a very serious sunburn just imagine that the glare that you're seeing off the sun is hurting your eyes. Well, it could also be hurting your skin.
Mm-hmm. In one of the past shows, if I remember properly, I think it was Dr. Young that mentioned, even during the wintertime with a cloud cover, you're still receiving 70% of the ultraviolet rays, and no one puts anything on during the winter. No one.
But, just to give you an idea of the severity of the things that we see and we're able to deal with just with an office visit and just a local shot, we don't have to numb people up. Dr. Mon was working with Dr. Lear the other day, and they had a skin cancer that was so bad that it basically it went all the way through or affected a lot of the bowl of the ear. We call that the conchal bowl, so this inside part of the ear. And so they had to cut almost all of that away. And the trick was how to fix that afterward. And so what Dr. Mon and Dr. Lear did was they cut a hole in the bowl of the ear, and they took a piece of skin from behind the ear where your glasses would sit, and they pulled it through the hole, flipped it around, and sewed it into the inside of the ear. And so it's sometimes pretty shocking how bad a small skin cancer ends up being when you take it out with the Mohs technique. It allows us to trace it out and to see what the defect looks like, a big nasty hole in the ear. And it's nice to be able to fix that without having to go to the hospital and get admitted and go under anesthesia. Just with a little shot, they were able to pull that skin through the hole and sew it in and fix the spot where they took the skin from behind the ear.
The fact that very serious skin cancer was in the ear is another example of why you need to have somebody look at your body, because there's parts of your body that you can't see. Moles on your back, behind your ear, in your ear, and other parts of your body. So I know some people don't like having people look at every almost orifice and crevice of their body. They feel very uncomfortable with that. But, I've had examinations, as we all have had here, and you have dermatologists look between your toes and where you're in unmentionable areas, and you can get moles there, too, that are serious.
I think another common story that I've seen lately is people that get a spot, and they keep picking at it, whether it's on the ear or on the face, and it goes away, and then it comes back. And they pick at it, and it goes away, and then it comes back. And a lot of times those can be skin cancers. And that's a common story that we hear, and the people will often be shocked because they'll say, well, I thought it was okay because it would stay away for a while. And often, the cancer's away on the top, but it's digging deeper underneath. So any spot that kind of comes back, especially after you pick it off or keeps regrowing, could be an early or a more advanced skin cancer, and we can often tell that whether we have to do a biopsy or not.
Are you also seeing more instances of skin cancer coming in because it's starting as it is right now? The sun is shining outside. It's been mentioned earlier in the show just a few moments ago that it's been winter. Here we have a lot of cloud cover, a lot of rain, and now the sun's coming up, and we are sun worshippers here. We love the sunshine, and we go running out into the sun. Is that a problem?
You know, I don't think you usually see a skin cancer develop just from like the same week you go out and get sun. But, you know, a lot of times I wonder, well, if the weather's better, are people more apt to come in because maybe they feel better about coming in for a visit? And so I kind of find that interesting with the winters in Oregon and the patterns that we see. For instance, last year at this time, we were pretty slow at this time of the year, but most offices in Oregon were slow. Regular doctors, hospitals, there were massive layoffs up and down the I-5 corridor. Even nationally, when I went to meetings, people were talking about how slow things were. And now we're seeing a lot of people come in with skin cancer. In my mind, that's a little worse. And so I always, you know, wonder, well, the people that stayed away now are coming in with more cancer or more advanced cancer. So, you know, we're really not sure with this whole rocky economic situation we're in and the Obamacare coming down the pike. We're not sure how that pattern's going to play out. But, you know, we would advise people it's usually better to get things checked before they get along and become too badly. And not only is it safer, but it can also save you money if you get it fixed, just like with the melanoma story. If you can get it off earlier, then you don't need to go and get lymph nodes taken out and chemotherapy, and that stuff can be really costly, and it can also impact your life and your work schedule. So,
and your parents, and not to mention the cost, because if you have to go in for reconstructive surgery and whatever, that's expensive too, more expensive than just saving the few dollars by staying away. Cajun Joe, you had a comment?
Yeah, we all this information about a lot of the topics that we cover here or on our website at silverfallsderm.net. And you can also reach us by phone because a lot of times people are a little squeamish about knowing if their particular problem is going to be covered by insurance. And our schedulers are well informed of this information. So if you need to call in, you can ask them a question as to, you know, how your insurance is going to cover any procedures or any business that you come in. And you can reach the billing number at 541-967-8385 or toll free at 866-599-8385.
That brings up another question. There's a lot of people out there without insurance right now, so can they make arrangements to pay? And
yeah, we do have a special rate for people that don't have insurance. You know, we try and help them out as much as we can. You know, in a real extreme instance, we would even help them set up, you know, make a payment. There is also, we do have a special plan that people can sign up for, whether it be cosmetic or medical, that over a period of time, 6, 12 months, I forgot what it is, but it's all interest-free. So, you know, don't let the fact that you don't have insurance influence whether you get something taken care of or not.
So that's a great point. Now, I was going to bring that up, and you added it before I said it, was don't let, you know, the lack of money or the fact that maybe you're concerned economically, because if you do have skin cancer and it progresses on, and we may have seen some of this year where people delayed coming to the doctor because they thought, well, I need to save a little bit of money. The economy wasn't great, and now all of a sudden we have more and more people coming in with more serious issues and requiring more extensive treatment, and that in itself is more expensive. So don't let that stop you from coming in. Other comments before we go to a break?
I just think as we've been talking about screening for skin cancer, I often explain or express to some of my patients that everyone kind of knows when it's time to get the colonoscopy and the mammogram and the prostate exam, and I think those are good cancer screening tools we have these days. But what often gets missed for many, many years is the 15-minute skin check, where you don't have to drink any funny things, you don't have to have any tubes placed in areas you don't like. It's pretty much a non-invasive quick check, but it can mean, you know, your life if it's a melanoma that's caught early, or a skin cancer that we can treat, sometimes not even surgically. Sometimes we can, if it's early enough, we can treat them topically. And so, you know, come and get your skin checked. It's a very simple, low invasive type of exam, and it can be worth your life.
And it's every bit as important as a colonoscopy.
Absolutely.
And I think we've covered these subjects pretty well, and when we come back from break, we're going to talk about our new UlTherapy procedures.
And this is Skin Talk on KGAL. I'll be right back.
The Osgood File, sponsored in part by Regis. Let Regis help you to focus on your business while they take care of your workspace needs. Get 2 months free on a fully wired and furnished office. Call 1-800-OFFICES. This is Charles Osgood. 2 British designers have come up with a wonderfully low-cost, low-tech, high-impact source of light for a third of the people on Earth. It requires no batteries, no kerosene or fuel of any kind, and there's no running out of what it runs on, which is gravity. Jim Reeves is one of the 2 creators.
So the product consists of the generator ambient light unit. It's shipped in a very robust bag which takes ballast. You take it out of its bag, you fill this bag with gravel, sand, soil. You attach the bag, you hang the product, and when you lift the bag, then you have your light source.
More after this. Businesses, from startups to Fortune 500 firms, have something in common. They're intentional, they focus on success, and they don't get distracted. And many successful businesses have something else in common. They work from a Regis office. Your beautifully furnished, wired Regis office can be ready when you need it, with a receptionist, access to meeting rooms, and state-of-the-art video conferencing, all with no long-term lease. Regis is the new way to work. Call 1-800-OFFICES and get 2 months free when you mention Osgood. That's 1-800-OFFICES. In this moment, who has your back? An insurance company delivering excellence during your claims process? Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. Let an Auto Owners independent insurance agent have your back, so when the unthinkable happens, you get the claim service you deserve. For J.D. Power and Associates award information, go to jdpower.com. Find your local independent agent at autoowners.com. The Gravity Light is designed to sell for around $5. Each 3-second pull on the bag produces a half hour of useful light. It's cheaper than solar technology. Co-creator Martin Ritterford can explain that.
The trouble with solar technology is that you have to charge a battery with the solar power that you've gained from the sun, then use the battery power to power at night. So it was really important to find the cheapest way of supplying reasonable quality light to these people.
To these people, the Gravity Light can be a giant leap forward. Right now, says Jim Reeves,
A third of the world's population is off-grid. So you've got large communities across Africa and India and South America and even Northern Europe and into Russia where power is either intermittent or absent. So we want to take a large number of the devices out to the intended end users, get feedback on how the product would perform in the field. It's very different from the conventional solutions that people will be familiar with.
To them, changing the world is, to use our late colleague Eric Severide's phrase, not so wild a dream. The Osgood File. I'll see you on the television come Sunday morning on CBS. This is Charles Osgood on the CBS Radio Network.
It's the President's Day event at your local Ford dealer. Yeah, it's time to save big at your local Ford dealer right now. Save your hard-earned money on the Ford that's right for you. Well, that's right.
If you've been waiting for the best time to get your next vehicle, your wait is over. For 5 days only, you'll find special President's Day deals on just about every Ford vehicle on the lot. But these offers are only available from February 14th to the 18th, so don't miss it.
It's the President's Day event at your local Ford dealer. Oh, yeah. You're gonna save big at your local Ford dealer. How about now? Because the time is right to find a Ford that's right for you.
Fact is, if you're looking to save on just about any new Ford, there's never been a better time to buy. But hurry.
It's the President's Day event at your local Ford dealer.
It all ends President's Day.
The most important person in your life, next to your family, may be your hairdresser. That's why you should know that Chris and Pam Solberg, former owners of Hair Express, have relocated to Brownsville. There they've opened Studio 709, whose phone number is 541-466-3250. They'll still bring out the best in you from Studio 709, 709 Amelia Street in Brownsville. Phone number 466-3250.
Less hype, just quality news, sports, and smart talk. From your friends at 1580 KGAL.
Welcome back to Skin Talk. It is Valentine's Day today. Happy Valentine's Day. And make sure you say Happy Valentine's Day to your sweetheart. Make sure you get a card, box of chocolates. Boy, honey, that dress really looks nice on you today. That blouse. We're helping you out here, folks, okay? So it's Valentine's Day. Don't forget, because if you go home, don't say anything, and all of a sudden she's not saying a whole lot, you know, maybe something's wrong. Well, say Happy Valentine's Day. Skin Talk. It is the second Thursday of the month. Of course, it's the 14th of February. With us in the studio today, Dr. John Young, medical student Bryce Desmond. Glad to have you with us today for the first time on the show. Corey Mon. And the one and only Cajun Joe. We'll have you put your hat on before the end of the show again, and we'll shoot some video of you. You can go to KGAL.com and see what Cajun Joe's... What are we calling that again?
Oh, it's a South Louisiana evening wear hat.
South Louisiana evening wear hat. You want to put it on again?
It's with all the well-dressed people in South Louisiana wear. I think I may have a reality show soon. Everybody else in Louisiana seems to have one.
Well, this is your first time on the video, so check it out on KGAL.com.
Yep.
One of the things we want to talk about, UlTherapy and Cool Sculpting. So, Dr. Corey Mon, let's talk about UlTherapy. We've talked about it a lot on previous shows. Right. Very popular procedure.
Yeah, we have talked about it a fair amount. It's a new device that we have for performing a facelift non-invasively. So it uses ultrasound therapy to tighten layers of what they call fascia, which is kind of layers of tissue in your skin, between skin and muscle, that kind of make dividing lines, and this kind of tightens it a little bit, like shrinking a little saran wrap. And it works great. It's a good success rate, and we've recently been notified that we have now new FDA approval to treat different areas, and so one of those areas is now the neck. And so before it was kind of confined to just the face, and you do some brows and cheeks, and now we're getting a little bit more, and it looks like in the pipeline there may be even indications to do other areas, such as the upper breasts, the buttocks, underneath the arms and places like that. So we're pretty excited.
So the cool thing, you tighten it up, immediate results?
Pretty immediate. The what they call inflammation from the procedure continues to tighten for about 6 months after it's complete. So it is kind of a one-time permanent deal, and it takes you back in time a little. I mean, you have to be realistic with most procedures, is that it won't make you look 20 forever, but it does take some good years off, and then you'll continue to age from that point in time. So if you get 5 years,
I've had it done.
Okay.
And I was having the turkey neck thing down underneath, and it's helped quite a bit. I'm 68 years old, and people say I don't look a day over 67 and a half.
Okay. So now we've got a tight video shot here on Cajun Joe right now.
See, which isn't bad.
So go to our website, KGAL.com, after the show, and you can see what we're talking about.
Yeah, it was instant. You don't notice too much yourself, but other people said that they noticed instantly, and it's been about 4 months from now, 4 months since I've had it done, and I can notice it. You're
going to have it done again?
I don't. You telling me I need it again?
Oh, no, I think you're looking good.
The question that most people have for us, well, first of all, a lot of people haven't heard of it because it's such a brand new device, and the only thing people can kind of relate it to would be laser. Everyone's heard of laser and how laser can freshen your skin and make you look younger and tighter. And the thing to remember about this is that this is completely different than laser. It's apples and oranges. Lasers zap the top of the skin. This goes really deep. I mean, if you think about seeing a liver, a gallbladder, a baby with an ultrasound can get in pretty deep. And that allows us to not only look at what we're shooting with it, but to target that deeper layer that classically you had to go in and have a plastic surgeon cut and pull, and that's where people had the scars in front of their ears, and they kind of looked pulled back and windblown when they had the plastic surgery.
The Joan Rivers look.
I was going to say Phyllis Diller, Joan Rivers.
So the real revolutionary thing is that we can now target that area without surgery, and so a lot of people that we see who have questions about it say, I just didn't want to go through surgery. A lot of people just don't want to spend the money or go through the scarring, the pain, the procedure kind of part of it. And we can give them a pretty nice result where not only will they notice, but their friends and family will notice, but it'll look natural. And that's the key thing, is it doesn't look pulled too tight. It doesn't look windblown. Most people will just look and say, hey, you look good. Did you lose some weight? are you eating better? Are you using some new skin products? I mean, we'll get a lot of those types of questions. And so, it's been a real revolutionary thing for me to see, because classically, we could only do so much to get an effect that was even, a quarter of that. The other thing is that with lasers, you could have redness and downtime. And if you laser resurface the face, that's like a severe burn, basically. And this thing doesn't even touch the skin. It shoots right through it. So you're targeting and tightening a deep layer, but you can't even see any changes on the top of the skin except for just some tightening and pulling up. And so you won't look like you had a procedure when you walk out of the door. Now, we do have another component of it that does allow us to resurface the top of the skin, where you would end up with redness to tighten some superficial wrinkles, but we don't have to use that. So you could essentially leave the office and not looking different to most people, but you'll be tighter and pulled up a little bit.
One of the exciting things about this procedure, to me, would think that as soon as you get off the table, you can see an immediate response. It's got to be exciting to you guys and to the patients as well.
That's the part I love, is that, I can usually tell right after, and most patients can, but we really try not to overplay that, because where it really kicks in is, like Joe said, months down the road, because it takes time for that healing process to kick in and new collagen to be laid down. And that's where it really helps, is that after about 2 to 3 months, people will say, whoa, I thought I noticed something before, but now, wow, it just kicked in. And it definitely feels like a procedure. It's definitely not hocus pocus. I mean, it hurts a little bit, but, it's a tolerable pain. It's not pain that people can't get through with it.
How often do they have to wait to get into for UlTherapy?
We were pretty busy with it. I think they can probably get in within a few weeks now, up to a month later. And the other thing to do is look at the website. Look at the before and afters. That's the most fun thing. If you look at the before and after pictures, a picture's worth 1,000 words. I mean, when you see these before and afters, it's just really amazing. One of the things that we recently did was we did an event in the Salem office, and we actually had some people from around here, Lebanon, Albany, attend, and we did a demonstration patient. And what we did for that patient was we just treated half of the face, and then we had the patient come out and show everyone, and it was really amazing, because you could see half of the face looking pulled up and tighter, and the other half just looking unchanged. And so we did finish the other half of the face, for those of you that want to make sure about that. We're not cruel, but it was really nice. The patient could definitely tell, and even in a poor, low lighting situation at night, the audience could tell as well.
Well, I did have it about 4 months ago, and as we sit here, if I extend my chin out a little bit, I can physically feel the tightness in my neck. It's the pain level is relatively small as they go around the face. I would say most of the level is, 2 or 3. Now, there were a couple of spots when they got up a little bit closer to my eyes, the pain level go up to about 5 on a couple of little pulses. But in general, very, very relatively pain-free.
Okay. Any more about UlTherapy? We're going to take a break here, come back and talk a little bit more about that and cool sculpting when we come back here on Skin Talk. With us in the studios, Dr. John Young, medical student Bryce Desmond, Dr. Corey Mon, and the one and only Cajun Joe. Cajun, glad to have you back on the microphone.
Thank you.
This is Skin Talk. Back in a minute.
The Willamette Master Chorus, Director Paul Clemmy, special guests and soloists wrap up the French Connection season with their winter concert. 2 chances to catch this exciting concert: Saturday the 23rd at 7 p.m. or Sunday the 24th at 3 p.m. The concert will feature the rarely heard dramatic oratorio by Hector Berlioz, The Childhood of Christ, with full orchestra and soloists. Go to their website, WillametteMasterChorus.org, for more information or to purchase tickets. The Winter Concert by the Willamette Master Chorus, Saturday the 23rd at 7 p.m. or Sunday the 24th at 3 p.m. Hudson Hall, Willamette University in Salem.
Shop now, Lancaster Mall. Enter to win the Lancaster Mall KGAL K-Show Valentine Getaway, valued at almost $500. Prizes include one-night stay at the Inn at Spanish Head Resort Hotel in Lincoln City, La Quinta Inn and Suites in Newport, Oregon Coast Aquarium tickets, flowers from Lollipops and Roses in Salem, and a delicious box of chocolates from Victorian Chocolate Factory in Lebanon. Sign up now to win a Valentine Getaway at the display near Bath & Body Works and the Lancaster Mall. Log on to KGAL.com for more info.
Lancaster Mall. Mark Thomas Motors, why pay more?
It's Truck Month at Mark Thomas Motors in Albany. 0% financing for 36 months on 2012 trucks. Ram is the only pickup manufacturer to achieve 20 mpg Highway Plus across its entire light-duty engine lineup. You'll love the Ram 1500 Hemi V8 in regular quad and crew cabs with 3 bed sizes. Get behind the wheel of a Ram truck. Hard charging power, easy-going gas mileage, an incredibly smooth ride, extra grip and pulling power. Lots of 2012 trucks to choose from now at Mark Thomas Motors in Albany. You'll be proud.
Check your mailbox for the Mark Thomas Motors Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Tax Time Community Charity and Sales Event. You can win a new Dodge Star cash, Apple iPods, gold coins, and more. See mailer for details. Your tax return is your down payment, and partial proceeds go to the ABC House. Payments available at 0 down and $132 a month. Pre-owned autos as low as $999. See dealer for details. Save big during the Tax Time Community Charity and Sales Event at Mark Thomas Motors, 2315 Salem Highway Southeast in Albany. Hurry, sales ends this Sunday at 5.
Mark Thomas Motors, why pay more?
Now you can manage your printers as easy as you manage your copiers. Managed print services from Ultrex. Maintenance, toner cartridges, and repairs, all in just one monthly payment. Hewlett-Packard, Lexmark, Brother, just to name a few. All you have to do is buy the paper. It's that easy. Just call Ultrex today and ask about their managed print services. Ultrex Business Solutions, your locally owned and operated copier company, proudly supporting our community. Ultrex Business Solutions.
The Car Show, Saturday afternoons on News Talk 1580, KGAL.
This is Skin Talk, and second Thursday of the month. Happy Valentine's Day to you and yours, and to your sweetheart. Don't forget her. Dr. John Young in the studio today, medical student Bryce Desmond, Dr. Corey Mon, and the one and only Cajun Joe back on the microphone. We've been talking about UlTherapy here on Skin Talk. We're going to talk about, I'd say 6 minutes or so yet to go in the program. We're going to talk about cool sculpting. Who wants to take a shot at that? Dr.
So cool
Young?
Sculpting is another one of the wave of non-invasive, skin improvement, devices that's out on the market. And the theory behind that is that if you freeze the fat, you fool it into dying. And so what they did was they noticed that kids who ate popsicles sometimes had a little fat that would freeze in their cheek, and they end up with a divot in their cheek. And so someone smart figured out how to harness that type of theory and put it into practice. They first used pig models, and then they did some testing and found that this did work. It did thin the fat out underneath the skin. And again, it's a great technique used in the right patient on the right body parts. So it's not great if you're really overweight, but for a lot of people who just have a persistent pooch, like in the front, lower abdomen, like women who've had babies, or a little saddle bagging on the back end, or a little love handle, it's a really nice way to go. It takes about an hour, and it feels like you're getting vacuumed. It's like a vacuum cleaner sucking kind of sensation that sucks the skin and the fat up into a little tube type thing, and then it freezes it. So it's a really kind of weird sensation, and it gets so cold that it goes numb, so there's no real discomfort with it. And then afterward, when they take this suction cup off of there, the skin looks like a big stick of butter because the fat's frozen. And so what we do is we massage it, and that helps to break the fat up. And then over the course of several months, the fat goes into an auto death mode. It just commits suicide, basically. It's something medically called apoptosis. And it just shuts down and then gets slowly absorbed. And it feels kind of like a little frostbitey for a week or two after, in my experience. Almost like a sunburn underneath the skin is the way it felt. A little bit numb, and then it feels fine after that. Some people have bruising with that. Again, really safe. You don't have to have any special medicines, no numbing. There's really no bad effect of it. So again, there's that, which is cold-based. And then there's the UlThera, which is ultrasound based. And so you can see that all these technologies are starting to use techniques that can get deeper without having to cut and without having to use drugs or medicines or have any anesthesia risk. And in fact, we wouldn't want to use anesthesia and knock people out with the UlThera, with the facelift thing, because we want to know how they're feeling. And so some providers in other parts of the country actually sedate their patients and knock them out, but they have a little higher complication risk because they can't ask the patient how they're doing. And you want to be able to push it far enough but not too far. And that's kind of what's nice now, is we have a lot of experience in how hard we can go and where we can go and avoiding areas that we shouldn't be tightening.
You know, in both of these procedures, the UlTherapy and the Cool Sculpting, it's zero downtime. You know, you can walk out of the office and head over to the gym or, in my case, McDonald's, but that's another story. But, you know, you walk out the door and there's you know, no downtime. You don't have to sit at home.
You know, those are cosmetic techniques, and they're really nice, and they're for people who want to make an improvement and not have downtime. But the nice thing is that not only do we have technology like that, but now devices like MelaFind are out. You know, so we have devices that can help improve the way you look cosmetically, but we also have medical devices which will help to add to patient care. You know, and so I think it's just a nice thing for us to be able to offer, and it's that extra level of security, perfect for those kind of funny-looking moles that people may not want cut off or may not need cut off. You know, so a big mole on the face that you might be nervous about getting it cut off, we can get kind of a second opinion from the computer, which is highly, highly accurate of whether or not that thing needs to come off. And so it's something unique and different. There are not a lot of people in the country that are doing this, and I think we're going to be just the second large practice in the country, from what I've heard, to have it. There's a large practice in Texas that has several offices that has it.
We have about a minute and a half left to go on the show, so let's mention your website again.
Well, I just want everyone to remember that we do these cosmetic procedures, but our number one goal in the Silver Falls Dermatology Clinics is patient care, and we want everyone to stay healthy or get healthy, and we do the best we can. If you need information, you can call us. You can contact us on the web at silverfallsderm.net, or you can call us at 541-967-8385, or toll-free 866-599-8385.
And, you know, that's a great point, Joe, is that, you know, we love the technology, we love all the procedures we do, but, you know, by far and away, most of what we do is medical. We do medical and surgical. We have a great team. We have great young doctors in the practice that are full of knowledge and information. We have more experienced doctors. We have some great mid-level practitioners. And it's a real exciting time to be doing what we're doing and to be able to make a real difference, I think, in patient care. And I'd encourage everyone to just get a skin check at least once a year, and usually we can tell you if you need one more often than that or not. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. John Young, Bryce Desmond, Corey Mon, and KG Joe in the studios today. This is Skin Talk. Join us again next month. Remember, the second Thursday of the month for Skin Talk, right here on KGAL.
Locally owned and operated, this is the very independent News Talk 1580 KGAL, Lebanon, Albany, Corvallis.
CBS News. I'm Harley Carnes.